Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Harakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, great most on the rule well, and Shalom to all the brothers doing the work, sincerity and truth. Got this article on The Guardian. It's basically going into this, completely crackpot, lunatic, mad scientist binge that's going down. So I read into it. So it says synthetic human embryos created in groundbreaking advance. Exclusive breakthrough could aid research into genetic disorders, but raises serious ethical and legal issues. So what does it say? It says scientists have created synthetic human embryos using stem cells in a groundbreaking advance that sidesteps the need for egg or sperm. So basically, they're trying to put an embryo together and artificially, and then have that develop or whatever. They're basically trying to work out the intricacies of it. They're trying to they essentially try to look out and work out how the sperm hits the egg and then fertilizes it, and then the process that happens afterwards. That's really what they're trying to get into, and it's more or less tied into that dream of immortality that these elites are drawn into. It's pretty much based off the back of that, because it will go into it. So it says scientists say these model embryos, which resemble those in the earliest stages of human development, could provide a crucial window on the impact of genetic disorders and the biological cause of recurrent miscarriage. However, the work also raises serious ethical and legal issues, as the lab-grown entities fall outside current legislation in the UK and most other countries. Okay, because they mention some stuff afterwards. That makes sense. So it says the structures do not have beating hearts or the beginnings of a brain, but include cells that would typically go on to form the placenta, yolk sac, and the embryo itself. So yeah, they just got Frankenstein's monster in there. But what they're trying to do is basically work out how different body parts develop, so that they can then be like, okay, we can grow extra. We'll take some of your cells, and then we'll lab grow you like an extra liver, or an extra heart, or an extra brain, or an extra. These guys are trying to basically have it so they can have access to the what do you call it, man? The secrets of life. That's what they're trying to get into. He says what Professor Magdalena Zernica Goetz of the University of Cambridge and the California Institute of Technology described the work in a plenary address on Wednesday at the International Society for Stem Cell Research annual meeting in Boston. We can create human embryo-like models by the reprogramming of embryonic stem cells, she told the meeting. There is no near-term prospect of the synthetic embryos being used clinically. It would be illegal to implant them into a patient's womb, and it's not yet clear whether these structures have the potential to keep maturing beyond the earliest stages of development. So yeah, they're basically trying to find a means of harnessing it, and that's the thing with all these technologies. The thing with all of these forms of research is like these will have think tanks and whatnot, different organizations, venture capitalists, whatever, throw in like millions into these forms of research, because why? They're looking for it, man. They're looking for some means. They're trying to access higher powers, man. They're trying to go on that super level, man. That's really what it is. I read this Matthew 24 and 22, and it says, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened. And yeah, if the days aren't shortened, this man that's in power, this man that's in control, the kind of lunacy, the kind of crackpot, just rampant shit he's doing, would basically bring everything to an end, man. Because that's his nature, to destroy. He's the destroyer, man. But then that again makes it clear where what do you call it? The levels of confusion, man. The levels of dust. Fucking hell. Of dust there is, for a man to be pursuing into these things, trying to get to the bottom of it, whilst, being completely unaware of what he's getting himself into. That's what it's a lot of these science fiction films, like especially like Alien and whatnot, these horror films, it'll be like, oh yeah, they were like, oh yeah, it's fine. Now if we get capabilities, we get the shit under control. It's gonna be a wrap. Little do they know, they're inviting mass destruction upon themselves, man. Legendary levels of destruction. So it says what? 1 Timothy 6:20. O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings, and oppositions of science falsely so called, which some professing have erred concerning the faith. Grace be with thee, Amen. Yeah. Avoid these profane and vain babblings, and then what? The science is falsely so called. Them claiming it's some form of science, some form of wisdom, but there's no wisdom in it. What they're from jump, what Esau's looking to get into is just something that you're manic trying to get into these things. But this is because why? Because of the things that Esau's been able to do. He's been able to go in and genetically modify things. He knows how to fuck with certain hormones. He knows how to do certain things, and he's like, oh, okay, I'm trying to eat. He's trying to get down the breakdown to everything, but bro, that's not for you, man. Ezekiel 28:2, it says, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Most High Power, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God, I sit in the seat of God, in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man. And real talk, that's basically all Esau's trying to do. He's basically trying to be on that God level, trying to be like, okay, I can, bring life and end it. Now he's and really from the jump, that blessing's been that sword, man, that capability to take life, man, to destroy, even from Cain, man. That's that's what the name was. That weapon, man. But that's been his little niche. But then he's trying to be like, oh, he can make, he'll be able to keep himself going, he'll be able to preserve himself, these things. But those capabilities weren't open to him. He was given the ability to make the nuke. He was given the ability to go into into the heavens, go into space. He's given the ability to do certain things because prophecy's tied to it, man. But then that doesn't then mean everything's all good for him. He's just gonna get everything he desires. Now what it means is he's gonna hit a certain point, because he's what? It says, in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man and not God, though thou set thine heart as a heart of God. Yeah, you're just a man. And that's the main thing that is gonna be manifest. Esau's just as Pharaoh was back in Egypt, where he was humbled to the point where he was destroyed, man. Man had everything taken from him. It's gonna be the same for Esau, because now he's basically maneuvering like he's a god on earth, because of what he's got. Isaiah 55, um, and 8, it says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord Jehovah. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." And yeah, Most High's ways are higher than the ways of us, man. Us in the flesh. His thoughts are higher than ours, man. Ours, we're bound in the wicked flesh. We're corrupted by it. But then what? That's like being at home for Esau. And then what's he trying to accomplish? What's he trying to achieve? He's basically trying to be like the Most High, man. But that's not an estate that he can hit. Finishing this. So 1 Corinthians 1 and 25, it says, "Because the foolishness of the Most High is wiser than men, and the weakness of the Most High is stronger than men. For you see your calling, brethren, how that not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called." And yeah, the foolishness of the Most High can outdo any of the so-called wisdoms of men easily. And that's these are the monumental gap Esau's trying to fill, because that's really what he's trying to accomplish, man. He's trying to make certain things happen, but hey, it's not him, man. He's not the one. He's basically been created with a purpose in mind, and that's why he pursues these things. That's been put into his nature, so that when he's made an example, you can look and point to it and how it's fruitless. It says what? "But the Most High have chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and the Most High have chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. The base things of the world and the things which are despised have the Most High chosen, yea, and things which are not, to bring to naught things that are, that no flesh should glory in his presence." And yeah, because as far as with us men, as we've been woken up to the truth, we've basically been established and then ordained as prophets and gone out and teach. We're basically using the weak things. Well, what does it say? The base things of the world, the foolish things of the world. What we're doing is going out on the street corners seen as foolish. Because as far as this is, when you deal with in the modern day, how is it you're gonna go out and get acclaim, get people listening to you? You get a stage, you get an arena, you get you go for a TED talk or something, and then you could be talking about cleaning toilets, and then people are gonna sit there and clap, and then you get posted online, get thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. But that's within the world. Dealing with spiritual matters is a whole different kettle of fish. And that's really what Esau is gonna have. It's gonna be inflicted in a way where he's not gonna be able to forget, man, that he definitely is not the Most High, man. He most certainly is not. And anything he's trying to accomplish, it's going to run to a certain point, because why? Certain prophecies he needs to fulfill. But then, once his time's up, it's up. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom, shalom, Yahweh Shem Shalom, Shalom.